Hey, welcome back. I'm James Bartholet, here with our very special guest tonight. Let's hear it for a woman who has been nominated for all of the awards and won some awards.
No winning yet.
No winning yet.
No winning yet.
But she's been nominated for everything and just been performing for 2 years, I believe now, right?
One.
1 year?
My
It
1
feels
year.
like it was 2.
My 1 year ended 3 weeks ago, so I just started my second year.
And you're with Next Level?
Yes, Next
Okay.
Level Talent. I think there's 3 X's in next. Yeah.
Yes. And she's got a brand new project that just dropped. She's going to tell us about that in a second. Let's hear it for the lovely Blake Lovely.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming down here. I know we've met before, and this was so exciting that I worked it out with you and with Crystal Penn to have you on here tonight. This is a big deal. This is your first television and radio interview show.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
I'm very excited.
And isn't she lovely? She got all made up here for tonight. That's the way you do it. That's how you impress Daddy.
Pun intended.
Yes, yes. Now, an interesting life that you had before you got into adult. You were a singer
Yes.
in an alt band.
Yes, an alt rock
A
band.
very androgynous kind of look you had.
Yeah.
It was before you transitioned.
Yeah, I had a song like kind of blow up, and it was really big in the trans community actually. And I remember we were on tour, and this must have been 9 or 10 dates in, and we had already played like my favorite cities like Chicago, Denver, Seattle, San Francisco, and we were in Detroit of all places. No hate on Detroit, it just isn't calling to me.
Yeah.
And it's not my cup of tea, but I can understand why certain people would love it. We were in Detroit. And a bunch of people were approaching the merch table, and I noticed that a lot of them were trans or
Wow.
in the queer community, and they were saying how that song like saved their life. And I was very
What was the name of that song?
Girl in Blue.
Girl in Blue.
So I was like at the time very confused. I was like, why is it so popular in this community of people? Because when I wrote the song, I had a lot of trauma at a young age, so my trans self was very mentally suppressed. Almost like I literally had to go for therapy for years to like just unlock that it was even there. It was so mentally suppressed. So I wrote the song about my desire to transition, but I wrote it like third party, third perspective, and I wrote it about like growing up through trauma, engaging in self-destructive behaviors to try to fit in and feel cool and forget the abuse, and really secretly nobody knows the girl in blue is all alone. And it gave the band I was in a career for 4 or 5 years.
And this was, you had a billboard on Times Square?
2 of them.
Wow. Wow.
It's who you know. It's not that impressive. Our music lawyer knew someone, and that way I was able to pay for the advertisement for the day. But it's incredibly
Because I know that cost a lot of money.
not for me.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing about the music industry. It's like a lot of it is like you have to have something that. Like,
No, this
sets
was
you
early
apart.
2000s?
This was 2021 and 2022.
Son of a gun.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was not that long ago, and legitimately, like "Girl in Blue" was, and then there was another song, "Can You Hear the Thunder," actually that led to the pinnacle of where the band got before we disbanded.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of songs that had set us apart, and because like we were in talks with major labels, we were given the opportunity to be on that billboard.
Wow.
And it was a total favor for my music lawyer because I paid not what the rate should be, and it's not like we cheated or anything. It's just we were very lucky, very lucky. It takes a village, and we were given an opportunity, and I think we made the most of it.
Very good. Now, you are still recording now.
When Animal Sun broke up, which was the name of the project, I had performed at the Hollywood Independent Music Awards presented by Diane Warren.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we won Rock Pop Song of the Year, and then broke up.
Whoa.
and then broke up. And that was, I was like, okay, I've been.
So remember that now, folks, because when it comes on VH1, where are they now? We'll revamp this. Yeah, we'll revisit this.
So I was like, okay, I'm done with music. I've done this for 10 years. I'd always wanted to go into adult film, and it was always holding me back, like not being able to go into it because I had this other thing that was taking all of my time. And I had done 3 records, 8 tours, and I, felt like I had taken it as far as I could go. So after we won that award, I was like, okay, this is the universe telling me it's now time to move on to the next thing. And then after a year in the industry, I met another performer who will stay anonymous, who kind of re-inspired me to get back into it because they really wanted to do music. And I was like, man, like I lost a part of myself that was so important to who I was my whole life. That doesn't just suddenly go away because I switched to a different profession that I love. You know what I mean? So I decided to get back into it, and I just finished recording my first single, which I believe we're going to play a little bit on the show today.
Yeah. Now, this world that we live in, especially here in the United States, trans people, LGBTQ in general, are really being attacked.
Yeah, I call it the pendulum effect.
Now say why. Why is that?
Why? Well, we swung very left for many, many, many years.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Eventually, all things that swing one way swing back the other way. And there was this huge group of people in America that felt ostracized and like they were being ignored, and they were being told they did something wrong when it was their parents or their parents' parents that did something wrong, and they built up all this resentment and hatred. And then you had, political parties, weaponizing, not weaponizing, they were kind of using like us as like a political ideology when we're just a community of people that just want to exist and like
that's
just
a key
live our
thing.
lives.
That's a key thing that you're saying right there.
Yeah,
is
you
were a political pawn.
We were.
And all everybody wanted to do was, do their work, pay their taxes, raise their family. There's a lot of trans folks that have families and children
totally.
and stuff.
And it's the percentage of trans people in this country is less than 1% of a percentage. Like it's so small. It's far smaller than people actually realize. And so am I allowed to cuss on the show?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. They pissed off this group of people, which unfortunately represent a huge portion of America. And at the same time, they were propping up our community in a way that made other people feel left out. So that made it very easy for certain political factions to paint us as the boogeyman. And
because I can remember there was a trans performer who won at the T Awards last month that was going to come out, but because of the climate here now, because of the hatred towards people in the trans community, she decided not to fly out here from Europe.
I wonder who that was. I thought that because last year I know that like there was a couple of big award shows that like didn't announce performers, but I thought it was because of time or whatever. Like they just had too many things. And I think what we really need to focus on going into 2025 is focusing on finding common ground.
Yes.
Meeting in the middle. We tried it one way before. Now we're trying it this way. Both ways didn't work. This way is worse than anything I've ever experienced. It's made my life horrible.
It's incredibly.
I have no relationship with my father, and 95% of my family because of the rhetoric. You
don't have a relationship with him now.
No.
Wow.
And it's all because of the rhetoric that was being peddled, right? A lot of it had to do with trans athletes, which I watched a special on John Oliver where they went through every single claim that the Republican, Fox News network has gone through, and they completely dismantled every single one of them. They were like, 900 medals have been taken away, right? And it's a anonymous website where you can submit a claim with no fact checking, and they also count every single medal in that event. It was something like kindergarten turkey foxtrot, local city fun run, high school basketball, whatever. They could just tell a story. There was no fact checking, and they would be like, if you took third, well, that means you took third away from the other team, and fourth away from the other team, and fifth. They went through the whole medal list because if you displaced
away.
Yes, and also that swimmer, right, Leah Thomas, that won.
Yeah.
She won fifth, and she tied. She didn't even beat the other person. It was the highest she placed in the tournament.
Right.
Was fifth.
And it was taken away from her.
Yeah. So my
Wow.
point is, and you can go through the volleyball one, right? Oh, she spiked at 80 plus miles per hour. Actually, it was less than 50 miles per hour. They had to retract their statement. Oh, they're crushing all the teams. Oh, yeah, they were ranked 119th in the nation. So they're at the very bottom of the barrel, but they're peddling like, oh, because she's trans, they're number one team. They weren't even in the top 100.
Blake, what do you want to tell these people
I
that are
want them to
spewing?
stop listening to the BS that's on your TV screen and do your own research. And it doesn't mean go to CNN.com or FoxNews.com. That means actually looking into this, because it doesn't take a lot of effort to go look at the website where these 900 medals are coming from and go, oh, wow, it looks like a 5-year-old put this together with no fact checking, you know? And they went through every single one of these like major headlines and disproved every one of them. And they did it like that. It was so easy. People are so quick to blame an easy solution to their problems that they don't want to do like the quick 5 minutes of homework, right? And I unfortunately have even suffered from things like this. I have believed things on TV without really doing my own research. And
I think a lot of people do that.
so I'm not saying like, you know, I'm above or different in thinking this way. I just think more and more people are becoming educated and realizing, wait a minute, a lot of these things that we were told last year and the few years before aren't true. Like trans porn is the second or third biggest search category globally now, right? So
It is.
So that is vastly disproportionate to the amount of people publicly, online, or whatever, saying they don't watch it. It's like almost the number one search thing now. So it's like if everybody is making money off of our bodies and secretly desiring us, then you can't take to the streets with a pitchfork and say, hang 'em high. You can't. You can't do that. You know, and that's why I said we need to focus on common ground, because demonizing these people and being like, right back at them, we've seen how that works out. It didn't work, did it? Now we're here. So that's why I said common ground is so, so important, even if it is really tough. And, you know, and there's always a struggle. The night is always darkest before the dawn. If you look at history, you look at, you know, rights of African Americans, you know, women's suffrage, gay rights. There's always some huge resistance.
Asian, Hispanic rights.
All of
yes.
it, right?
Yeah.
Right before there is actual change, there is some big pendulum swing to the other side to try to stop it. But you can't stop progress. And eventually, we're going to be accepted just like, you know, other people, even if it takes time. And, you know, what people should ask themselves is, what side of history do I want to be on right now? Because I can guarantee you those people from those different time periods that I just mentioned are not proud of themselves right now.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
can almost
I
guarantee you that.
agree with you 100% on that.